Hi everyone, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag and I'm so excited. But let me just say, where did 2020 and 2021 go? Like, I want my 20s back, please. Like, this is my prime time and I'm not having a prime time. But let's just get into the questions and talk about some great books. So the first question is, what is the best book that you've read this year so far? And to no one's surprise at all, it has to be Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Okay, I love this book so much. I talk about it a lot, so I won't go too much into it. But this follows August West and Iris. They have a meet cute in the beginning of the book, but Iris is taken and they can't be together. And so there's this whole story that follows very emotional topics such as domestic abuse. So beware of that, but it's done so well and so sensitively. I just think it's an incredible book with an incredible connection between the characters. And Kennedy Ryan's romances are so believable. The characters are so real in my head. And it was just so well done. The female main character had her own agency. And it was beautiful to see August and his compassion for women in general. I love that one. It is such a good romance. It has the steam. It has the chemistry, but it also has a really good plot and also just a really important plot and important themes that we don't see a lot in romance books. Another one of my favorites was Tryst 6 Venom by Penelope Douglas. This was just a fun and entertaining read for me. I love her writing. I read it so fast for like that chunky book. It's like this thick. It's about Clay and Liv and they hate each other. It's a bully romance with heavy bullying, okay? The insults go above boundaries. There is no boundaries here. So just beware of that if you are interested in it. But I think it's really worth it after that 50% mark. And you get to see this romance develop between these two girls. It is so good, and the family aspect was also really good in this one. It had a lot of family dynamics, and one of our characters has 5 brothers. They're all so protective and sweet. I really want Army and Macon's story, but I saw on her website she might not do it, but I hope she does. I still hope she does. But yeah, that one was just so much fun. Definitely recommend if you're looking for a female-female romance and you're not uncomfortable with a bullying aspect. It was steamy, but also it had a sports aspect. It had everything that you would want out of this type of book. So I really enjoyed it. Next is the best sequel that you've read so far this year. For this one, I have to go with Act Your Age, Eve Brown. This is the 3rd installment in the Brown Sisters trilogy, which I'm sure you've heard about, but this one was my favorite out of all of them. My ranking is Eve, Chloe, and then Danny. 5-star, 4-star, 3 stars. So definitely Eve was my favorite. I loved the bed and breakfast aspect. I think for summer this would be such a fun read. It also has a really great scene by a pond, and I just loved the characters so much. There's autism representation, which is amazing, and it's just so good, especially for people in their 20s that don't really know what they're doing with their career, aka me. So I really love this one. Eve was so relatable and Jacob was such a good love interest. Next is a new release that you haven't got to but you want to, and this one I have so many because it's so hard to keep up with everything that I want to read. So I still have Neon Gods by Katie Robert, which is a Hades and Persephone retelling. I still haven't gotten to it even though it was on my June TBR, but I really want to get to that as like priority. And then we have Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. That is a taboo romance, student teacher age gap, also in the church. Very taboo, but also I've heard amazing reviews. So I'm excited to try that one out. And then I also wanted to try out K.A. Tucker's new release, which is like a fantasy romance. It's called A Fate of something and something. I'll put a picture up, but I just like K.A. Tucker from The Simple Wild, so I figured why not try out her new release. And I love her writing style, so I think I might really like this one. She also does romantic suspense, so I really want to try out that as well. She's just a full circle type girl, so I can't wait to pick that one up. And then also Twice Shy by Sarah Ogle. That one I really want to get to because I liked Sarah Ogle's other book, You Deserve Each Other. That one was like a second chance romance between fiancés that want to split up, and they start doing prank wars on each other, and it's super cute. I really liked the writing. I think I gave it 4 stars. So Twice Shy's on my radar because I've seen some good reviews about it, and I also liked Sarah Ogle's writing. It's also a yellow cover, which is just screaming summer to me, and it's like this thin. Double whammy right there. The next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For this one, I don't have a lot of romance books because, as we know, romance books tend to come out just boom. They're here. You didn't see it coming. So the answers I have for this include The Final Girls Support Club by Grady Hendrix. This is a thriller, and I love Grady Hendrix so much, so I cannot wait for it. I actually have an arc of it, and I'm reading it for a vlog that's coming out soon. I want to post it right before the release date. I also want to read Penelope Douglas's new book, which we don't know what we're going to get first. We might get Motel first, we might get Fall Boys first, but either way I'm excited. Fall Boys is projected to come out first, and it's a spin-off of the Fall Away series that she did a few years back. So I can't wait to read more Penelope Douglas, but I'm also really hoping for Motel because I think I'm gonna like that one better, but I guess we'll see. And then lastly, Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. I know I don't have a lot of sci-fi on my channel, but this series is so good. I promise you, it's so worth your time. It's so worth hopping genres for. I love the Skyward series. It follows Spensa, who wants to be a fighter pilot, and her dad created this treason kind of thing, and she is not allowed to, but she finds a way in, and it is so good. It has aliens and a space adventure, but also it's just so well written and so exciting. I highly recommend it, even if you don't like sci-fi. I promise you it's gonna change your mind, but I'm so excited for the 3rd installment. The 2nd installment, Starsight, was actually really good, so I'm excited to see where the story goes from here. I can't wait for November for this one. Next is your biggest disappointment. So for these ones, when I tell you they were so disappointing because of the hype surrounding them, first is Love in the Wild by Emma Castle. This is a Tarzan retelling, and I had such high hopes because it was all over Instagram, and it was also pitched so well. Like, Tarzan retelling, you don't get a lot of those, and also it just had a really good cover, I'll be honest, but I really didn't like this one. The insta love was too much for me, and I couldn't buy into the connection between the characters. It was just a little bit far-fetched for me. I will say that the commentary on conservation and nature and stuff like that was really good and really well researched, but the story overall just fell flat for me. The whole time I was reading, I was like, I kind of just want to DNF this, and that's really unfortunate because I really wanted to love it. And then the other one is even more loved on other social media, and that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I know this one is so loved, even here on BookTube as well, but I just did not like it at all. I thought it was so convenient, the characters having the things they did in common. I found it to be kind of unbelievable that they would have so much in common. And also, it was just like the plot was so dramatic, and I love drama, don't get me wrong, but I just thought it was so dramatic for no reason. And I didn't like the virgin hero aspect, which I know sounds weird, but I do like that sometimes in books. I just found this one to be kind of uncomfortable. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been mentioned a lot, or something about it just made me feel a little uncomfortable. I have more thoughts in another video. I'll link it down below and in the cards, but I didn't rate this one as highly as I wanted to, and the characters just didn't stand out for me like they do for other people, but I would definitely give this one a shot. It is very loved on all platforms. Next is the biggest surprise. So for these ones, I have to go with 2 kind of similar books. Sicko by Amo Jones and Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. These 2 surprised me so much. Mainly, okay, let's go with Sicko first. Sicko surprised me because of all of the twists and turns that were in this that blew my mind. I was so excited, on the edge of my seat. It was so good, so different from any other book that I have read before, and I loved it so much. So then I did jump into Still Beating because I wanted like a kind of darkish suspense book again. And this one surprised me because it was just on Kindle Unlimited and I just picked it up on a whim, but it was so good and entertaining. It was about a girl who gets kidnapped with her sister's fiance and they're forced to do things in this guy's basement. It was literally the messiest, drama-filled, suspenseful kind of book. And I loved it. It was so original. I really liked how it played out. And then I did pick up Jennifer Hartman's other book, Lotus, which has like kind of a similar premise. It's in the same world. This one follows a guy who got kidnapped as a child and he comes back into life as an adult. Oh, this is an instance where I did like the virgin hero aspect. So that one has a virgin hero because he was kidnapped and then he goes back to his hometown where he had a childhood best friend. So it's a childhood best friends to lovers. And it also has a suspense element because he's not sure why his kidnapping took place and who kidnapped him in the first place. So it's a really good one. I highly recommend that one on Kindle Unlimited. Next is your newest favorite author. This one has to go to Kennedy Ryan. I just think she writes great chemistry and great characters that have personality. Like her side characters, even you want to know their stories because they're so much different from her main characters. And I find that that is kind of rare. So I do just love her writing style and her storylines are all very unique. So definitely check her out if you haven't already. Real just came out recently and was amazing. And it has lupus awareness, so I loved that one. And then also I think a new favorite is Amo Jones. I haven't read any of her other books, but I do have The Silver Swan, which is the first book in the Elite Kings Club series. And then I do have the Carnival one, the Midnight Mayhem series. And that one my friend Chelsea from Instagram really loves and she keeps talking about it to me. So I can't wait to read it as well. I think I'm gonna really love that one. So I just really think her writing was so unique. So I think she's gonna be one of my favorites. Next is your newest fictional crush and your newest favorite character. For these ones, I'm gonna go with Macon from Trish 6 Venom and August from Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. These books were my best books also, so it kind of makes sense that these characters were part of those ones, but I love them so much. If I had to choose which one is my crush, I would probably choose Macon because he's mysterious and reserved and also just responsible and caring, but in the most not caring type of way. I'm getting a Scorpio energy and my boyfriend is a Scorpio, so that's the only way that I like my men. So I would like Macon, please. And I also really loved August because he was so respectful and perfect and also just like I'll kill anyone that hurts you vibes, which I love. But he gave me more like Aries energy. I think he might be in my favorite character category, and then Macon takes the crush slot. Next is a book that made you cry. For this one, I'm gonna have to go with Underneath the Sycamore Tree by B. Celeste. This one follows a step-sibling romance, but also a girl who has lupus. Her sister recently passed away from lupus, so it's definitely a grief story and a family story. It definitely has a broken family type aspect. She's estranged from her father and has to go live with him in the beginning of the book. So we get to follow them trying to reconnect after a lot of grief and loss. It was beautiful and the ending is super sad, but it's so worth it. And I think the author did a wonderful job. Like her writing style is so good. It's very addicting and I really didn't want to put it down. So I really want to pick up more by B. Celeste in the future. Next is a book that made you happy. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. This is a Peter Pan retelling. It's YA fantasy and it just makes me happy because it's so atmospheric and it's a darker and kind of twisted Peter Pan retelling that has a little bit of a romance element, but it's mostly just for that atmosphere that I loved it so much. It also had a mystery element, which was actually pretty surprising to me. I don't know if I just wasn't looking for it, but I thought the twist was pretty interesting. Just an overall original retelling of the story. It didn't try too hard to be a retelling, which is oftentimes what I find authors do. It's like they're trying to tell you that it's a retelling every chapter. Like, hey, did you realize that this is a retelling? Yes, I did realize this. I just find it kind of annoying when it's like hinted at over and over again. It's like, you can be a little original with your plot. And then the other one that made me happy was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is a friends to lovers story, and it's so cute. The romance between the two is beautiful, and their friendship developing. You get to see past and present, so you get to see their friendship develop, which I thought was such a good addition to the story. And without that, it wouldn't have been as good. But it was so cute, and I loved the characters and the friendship that they built. It's also just a quick, fun summer romance. It's so good even for like the winter time when you want to escape. Every year they went on vacation together until something crazy happened and they haven't talked for 2 years. So our main character decides to see if her best friend wanted to try again to go on vacation for the last time, and it's so beautiful. I loved it so much. Next is the most beautiful book that you bought this year or received, and I'm gonna go with The Boy and His Ribbon for this one because I recently got this from one of my besties, Jess from Books Past Bedtime. And I love it so much. It's beautiful because it's from her, but also it's beautiful in general. It has the blue hues I've always wanted, and it's really beautiful. I hope the inside is just as beautiful as well. But I love receiving books from my friends because it always comes with that note and reminds me of everything, and I love it so much. The next question is, what books do you want to read by the end of the year? So this question is definitely hard for me to answer because I'm such a mood reader, but some plans that I have always revolve around authors. I tend to like to dive into different authors and read just a lot of their backlist and books. So I really want to get into Lucia Franco, Off Balance series. That one was recommended to me when I did my banned book video, and I really want to do a vlog for that one, so let me know if you're interested in that. And then I also want to read Sophie Lark. Recently she's been all over booktube for her Mafia series, so I definitely want to get into that. Mainly authors. If you have any favorite authors you think I should check out, definitely leave them in the comments below. But that is all of the questions for this tag. If you have any answers that you want to share, be sure to comment them down below. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!